So,
yes,
very big pleasure to meet you. I'm a
same
huge
here.
fan.
Thank you so much.
I've been watching your show since, you know, the IFC days. I mean, I've never had cable much, but I just get it off the internet, you know, what I can. And
so you'd seen the pre-Fox, stuff.
Of course, of course. And it was just the greatest thing when you guys finally got on Fox, and all of that has happened. But how do you guys like being back on IFC?
It's great. I mean, Fox was a really interesting experience because it was suddenly like professional, our first professional experience, working in studios, working with other actors and even people like, you know, Eugene Levy and Seth Green and all that. Having the budget to do things the way the Hensons used to, with raised stages and monitors and other puppeteers, and so that was great. But creatively, it was kind of a nightmare because you had to please our showrunner, who we didn't always see eye to eye with, and the network, and so it wasn't the kind of guerrilla style thing that Spencer and Sean and I did on the original show. So coming back to IFC meant that the only real regulations we had to follow were the episodes that the only limitations they put on us were the list of movies they wanted us to parody, because they were in conjunction with what they were airing on their network. And as long as we did parodies of those films, we could do whatever we want. So Sean Spencer and I just write an outline, improv the dialogue, shoot it on the fly, edit it, and aside from just a few notes, we pretty much get, you know, a final cut aired.
Yeah. So the notes from IFC are a lot less restrictive than the notes from Fox.
Yeah, IFC really, they're very trusting with the content. They're very artist friendly, as they say, and they just want us to feel comfortable, and everyone who works for them to feel comfortable to do what they do. But sometimes they will say, if they feel strongly, you know, maybe we could try this or try that, or usually it's about serving their network. Can we make what we're doing more relevant to their network so that it seems more appropriate for us to be there?
Right. Seems like when you were on Fox, you had to reel in some of the adult humor just a little bit. Are you glad to be able to let loose again?
Yeah, definitely. We don't have to censor ourselves at all. They will show some of our stuff that if it were actually to be rated would probably fall under NC-17 with the violence and stuff. But and some of the language, just the frequency of the language. But you know, we don't try to be a dirty show. It just so happens that a lot of times in improvs the puppets they'll curse or whatever. But it's obviously freeing that we don't have to worry about censorship at all.
That's fantastic. So what can you tell me some of the parodies we might be expecting to see this fall?
I'll let you, Sean, answer that one.
Sure.
He can tell you about a lot of that and also speak to the last thing. I will say that it's an odder group of films this time around. They're not quite as iconic as they were before. Easy Rider is such a classic film, and you know. But I'll let him answer. They're going to be good.
All right. If we can talk about public access TV real quick. I mean, a lot of the fans of this news blog are going to be are indie filmmakers on the lowest possible level. They have a camera, they have some passion, and they're trying to get it out there. Now, you guys got your start, everybody knows, on public access. You're probably the most successful public access champion of all. But
I never thought of that. I wonder, I don't know how many things did come from public access. I know Sean can talk about this as well. On MTV there was Squirt TV, and there was kind of a trend for a while of picking stuff up from New York public access, and we kind of fell in there somewhere. We were lucky enough that we were so inspired by shows like Mr. Show and comedies where you got the sense that the guys had total creative freedom, and we were envious of that, and so we really wanted to do something, and public access allowed us to do it for free and with little to no censorship. And we were just very fortunate that people were actually watching, because our time slot was awful. It was like 11:30 p.m. on a Monday night, every other week. It wasn't even a weekly show. And yet, an agent from William Morris Agency was watching and actually called us up, and is one of our agents to this day. But we actually sold the show to IFC based on a test video we did for them, just for fun, that they liked and approved us for.
Well, So regarding public access, I don't know if you've heard, but New York public access is threatened these days.
Yes.
Lots of things are changing in the industry. Do you have any feelings about that?
I think it's terrible. I hear that Manhattan Neighborhood Network is having trouble with their funding, and I really do think it's awful, because even though on New York public access, you know, you might have a few shows that were you know, somewhat strange. I mean, if anybody off the street can walk in, you're going to get some eclectic stuff. But it's also like an amazing voice for people that otherwise wouldn't have one. And I think it's tremendously useful. And I think instead of pulling back on it, it should only be in more states, and it should be in schools. You know, and the fact that you can give a kid a camera and a voice would do wonders for their self-esteem and give them a chance to be heard. And you know, but it does cost money. And so I'm sure it's a matter of finding that funding and where it comes from. But it was invaluable to us. We wouldn't be here today if we weren't able to just walk up to 84th Street and hand them a VHS tape.
Well, but things have changed a little bit since then. Do you think that the internet and things like YouTube are an adequate replacement for the, you know, the voice of?
I think it definitely helps. I think that if you have just 3 local channels that you turn to, you know, television is still going to fill more living rooms than the computer. But yeah, absolutely, the idiots are running the asylum on the internet, and already they're starting to develop. I heard today that a sitcom was bought off YouTube. You know, yeah, like they're already starting to develop that material. So it is the same kind of thing. But the difference is, the only thing that was helpful about public access is the facilities were there for you if you needed it. With the internet, you still need your own camera, you still need to be able to encode your own stuff and put it up, whereas with public access, you just kind of, you know, handed your stuff over and they did a lot of the work. And if you didn't have a camera, they gave you one. And if you didn't have a studio, you could use theirs, you know, and that was great. But yeah, I mean, I would say 80% of the stuff I'm watching now is viral videos and websites like channel101.com and flash cartoons like Homestar Runner.
So, well,